What's up, Ninth Man Nation? Eric Thoreau, host of Inside the Nation here on ninthmannation.net and on our YouTube and video page, and also over on our podcast platforms. I want to welcome you to the second episode of the 2019 season. And finally, some things have come to fruition that we've all wanted. Well, almost. We had the first pleasures of having two teams expanded this year. The schedules are already out, as well documented here on ninthmannation.net. But what we wanted, saying there were two teams on there that we didn't know who they were. We knew where they played and what city and what arenas they're going to be playing in, but we didn't quite know who they were. One, we had a judgment because they had officially announced a coaching staff, so headed by Ron James, and that was the Atlantic City AFL. And with that said, I'm going to start with them first, actually, since their press conference took place first. It took place on Thursday. And then, of course, the Columbus team came in, and they had their press conference yesterday on Friday. And that's one of the reasons why I'm sort of coming at you 24 hours late on this podcast or on the show. Normally, I'm going to be, for this season, I'm going to be trying to get them up on Fridays. To go as a way to sort of review what happened the week prior during the season, and then to kick off and get people hyped up for the games. I know there might be one or two games that do take place on Fridays, but I will try to get them out for those days beforehand. So with that said, let's go on and let me give you this week's episode. It's going to be short and brief, no guest. I'll get that in the moment about having guests on Inside the Nation for future episodes and how you can be involved, basically. So let's give me my 2 cents here on what has transpired this past week. One, Thursday morning, my time, which was 9 or 12 noon Eastern time, the Atlantic City AFL and the Arena Football League had a press conference to officially introduce the team. When this announcement was made that this particular event was to take place, a lot of people were hoping, fans were hoping that there will be also an announcement not only just to welcome the team to Atlantic City officially and to the media, but also to find out who the Atlantic City are going to be, what colors are going to be, what the uniforms are going to be, what the jersey is going to look like, and everything, and coaches' hats or whatever, what the logo is going to look like, what have you. So basically, none of that happened. The team is still without an identity. It's only with a home to play in, and of course that's at the Jim Whelan Boardwalk Hall. So that's the only thing we know. They do have that temporary logo that you've seen, Atlantic City, with the shapes of the boardwalk and all that stuff on it. And it's in blue and gold, but we don't know if that's going to be the colors or not. So that should be, we're here at the end of February. We still got one more week left. Basically, I would say by the first or second week in March, so basically 2 to 3 weeks from now, I'm sure they will have all that announced, all that squared away. We would have official Atlantic City team name, logo, team colors, and I'm sure they'll also have with that, the official team jerseys to be revealed at a future date, and they will probably have it on their Facebook page, the team's Facebook page. So that's with that. So the press conference mainly was an official welcoming to Atlantic City kind of thing to the local media. And they did announce a few partnerships. They did introduce the AFL staff to Atlantic City and the media. They did announce the head coach officially there, even though that was already announced earlier in the press release, sort of via social media, as you could say. They announced a media partnership there, and they then announced an official hotel partnership there, which I'll get to in a minute. I'll start off with the people that were there. Ron James was there, and he's the head coach of the team. He was joined by Commissioner Randall Boe, the AFL executive, and also part owner of or not really partner, part partnership of the team, Ron Jaworski. When we get to that this team, Atlantic City AFL, along with Columbus AFL, both of these teams are owned by the league. Mainly the Atlantic City is owned by the league, but has a business partnership with Trifecta Sports and Entertainment, which will be running the operations of the team. And what I got this is per Commissioner Randall Boe. Basically, I heard this through his conversation that he had with AJ Cannell last week on the State of the Empire podcast. That's a great podcast. If you want to check it out, check them out on SoundCloud. State of the Empire. Just search Albany Empire on SoundCloud, and you come up. And then as soon as you get to it, just immediately favorite, so you have it in your library. But yeah, so that's how he announced the structure of the team, and Commissioner also announced that the way going forward, the league is going to look at expanding teams is basically to do like the way that Major League Soccer did. And to take ownership of the teams, and as they groom the teams and get them established in their home cities like Atlantic City and now Columbus, is to establish them there first, get a good solid footprint there in their home cities, and then to find, of course, quality ownership for these said teams that can take over not only the ownership, but also, of course, the day-to-day operations of their teams. So with that said, that's what happened on the Thursday press conference. It was the official welcoming of the Atlantic City AFL team. They had local stations. They announced a partnership with 97.3 FM ESPN Radio, which is an ESPN affiliated station there in Atlantic City. This station will be having not only the games being broadcast on their station live, and they'll be streamed live, I'm sure, but they will have a 30-minute pregame show. They would have a 30-minute postgame show, and they will also have, I believe, a 30-minute weekly coaches show. Basically, so Coach Ron James will make an appearance, whether it be in the studio live or via a telephone call. How they're going to make it work, they'll make it work, but he'll make a 30-minute call appearance on the show, and they'll have a 30-minute conversation about the team. So it'll be like a coach's show. And then they also announced, they officially announced their choreographer for the Atlantic City dance team. And then they announced the official team hotel, which is Ocean Casino Resort. And from I think that's one of the newer casino resorts that just barely opened up. And from the details on that is that the officiating crew who comes in and officiates the referee who come in for game night, that's going to be their place to stay during the games, for the home games. And then you got the visiting team coming there. I think it's also, they said it was going to be announcing that they're going to house the players there, maybe. And of course they'll be doing some events there too, to help promote it with the trade of the announcement of the partnership. So I'm sure there'll be some announcements there and some events going on there at the Ocean Casino. So you may, if you're in the area at the hotel, which is quite big, or if you're there at the casinos and you run into some football players there, you know what's going on. Now you just need to go and get some tickets to actually see them play and do their job. So that's basically what went down with the Atlantic City press conference. It was just a general introduction to the community, local media there. After that was done, they had the local media had a chance to interview Ron Jaworski, George Manias. I forgot to mention George Manias. He's part of the management group, the COO, the Chief Operating Officer for the team, Atlantic City team. He's come down from being part with the Trifecta group and Albany Empire from last season. So he got that team now. He's going to help with Atlantic City. So that's basically it. That's all went down. It was live streamed on Facebook on the Arena Football League's official Facebook page, and it was done like in 45 minutes or so. So it wasn't too extravagant or too lengthy. Just a general introduction to the team. But unfortunately, what we all as fans wanted to know is like, okay, what are we going to finally call this team? What are the colors? What are the things going to look like? What are the logos going to look like? Are they going to have merchandise for sale? Are they going to maybe one good partnership with the Arena Football League is to team up with Fanatics and have Fanatics be in charge of doing, team merchandising, New Era caps, Under Armour, shirts and jerseys and what have you. As Fanatics has partnerships with other major leagues like NHL, MLB, and NBA. and the NFL. So why not team up with Fanatics to be the official merchandising partnership and retailer for the Arena Football League? That would be a great partnership right there. But that's it. So now we move on to Friday, which was yesterday. And basically what had happened yesterday is basically the same thing as Atlantic City. It was taken, but this took place at Nationwide Arena. But they had a special guest that made an appearance via a pre-recorded video message, and that was the former quarterback to the Columbus Destroyers back in 2007 and 2008 seasons, Matt Nagy. He is now the head coach for the Chicago Bears of the NFL, going into his second season. He brought the team back, the Chicago Bears, back to the playoff caliber team, and was named Coach of the Year for the NFL. So he made his announcement welcoming back Columbus to the Arena Football League. Matt Nagy led the Destroyers in 2007. You would say not to a winning season because it was 7-9 in the regular season, but to an Arena Bowl appearance, in which they fell short, basically to my team, the San Jose SaberCats, and Arena Bowl 21 in New Orleans. So, but Columbus had a very strong attendance. They've been known to have between 13,000 to 14,000 at each of their home games during the 4 years. So they were one of the top stays in the attendance records. The consistency with that. So it's diehard football. And plus, right down the street from the arena, you got Ohio State University right there. So you got a lot of the Buckeye fans there that could come and pay attention. Excuse me. I detailed about the lure of having the Arena Football League back in Columbus last week when I had my conversation there with Dominic Jones, who's the director of football operations for the Columbus AFL team. So besides having the special guest announcement message from Matt Nagy, this particular press conference also did have a team name mentioned. So it is going to be officially said that it is the Columbus Destroyers coming back to Columbus. So Destroyers, the same logo. The only thing different about the logo and the team is that they're going to be different colors. They're not going to be the standard red, white, and blue as they used to be. They're going to be black, white, and gray, or black, gray, and white. So that's their team. A little bit more evil colors. They did not unveil the jerseys yet, so we don't know how the jerseys are going to be. If it's going to be black on black, or black jersey topped with gray pants, or what have you. Or it's going to be black helmets, with the black and white, decal or what have you. So we don't know how the imaging is going to look, but we know what the logo is, and we know what their team colors are. And so that's part. And then they also finally announced the head coach for Columbus, and that's Matt Sauk. If you're unfamiliar with Matt, he was an assistant coach with Spokane. He also took over, I think, for 1 year in Spokane when he was with Rob Keefe. Coach Keefe was there in Spokane in 2010 and led the Spokane Shock to the Arena Bowl China when they transferred over from being a development team in AF2. So that he had that coaching experience. He led that team. He was an assistant coach with the newly announced team in Anaheim, which was the LA Kiss. So he did that. He was an assistant coach there under Bob McMillan. He had some coaching experience over there in Utah for the Utah Blaze. So he's been in the league for quite some time. He understands the league concept. He understands the league play. He is well known and recognized for arena football fans as a great coach. He's had an early time into the league, so he doesn't have an Arena Bowl appearance just yet. But of course, he'll bring that. I'm sure he's going to definitely try his hardest and true experience and pressure to bring it to Columbus and bring back Columbus the Arena Bowl trophy. So with that said, that's your coaching staff, head coach, coaching staff. I'm sure that's one of the first things he's going to be doing, trying to see who he could get to lead, and that will be coming in the coming days. I'm sure we'll get an announcement sooner or later from the Columbus press release, their media department. And heading the media department will be Jeffrey Elston. He's coming down from Cleveland. He did the Cleveland Gladiators media. So he's coming down, and he's most recently doing the Cleveland Monsters of the AHL, the minor league hockey team, but he's coming down from Cleveland to Columbus to take over the media relations for the Columbus Destroyers. So we welcome him to Columbus and back to the AFL. Basically, that was it. So that was what was announced there in Columbus, the team name and colors. Even though indirectly they didn't say those were the colors, they just had the logo and those colors, but it has been official that they are. Oh, and another thing is all the numbers and stats that were fulfilled, that were gained from 2004 to 2008, they are being carried over to this franchise. So 2019 will have a stats add-on to the 2004 to 2008 seasons with the Columbus Destroyers. So that's it. But that's it. That's all that happened. This is going to be, like I said at the beginning of this video, it's short and sweet, not too long. Now, the question I'm having out to you, I will be having a poll over on ninthmannation.net and on our Twitter. Our handle is @ninthmannation. And I've already basically said this on Instagram, so they got a little treat to this. But the poll is that I want Ninth Man Nation to have more involvement. So in this show, after all, it is Ninth Man Nation. I want you all to see, who do you want to have on the show? Who do you want me to sit down and have a conversation with to bring more involvement and not just the news part, but I want to have conversations and experiences with the guests that I bring on. Sort of like the way I had with Dominic Jones. You know, we didn't get right into the heartbeat of the news, but we got into his experiences and his overall feelings of the league and his history with the league that he's had. So who would you like to have on this team? I'm going to have that question over on the Ninth Man Nation website and Twitter account. So you can leave your feedback, and we'll try to get them on. I can't guarantee that all of them will be available. Of course, this is league play, so depending on the time I'm able to sit down and have a conversation with them, it has to work within our schedules. But go ahead and feel free. So I want anybody from the league office to be on there, from the coaching staff, from any of the teams, even team offices. And like if you want, I don't know, some of the ownership of the teams, like Ron Jaworski for Philadelphia Soul. If you want Hurst from Albany Empire, if you want Ron Jaworski, you know, from Trifecta, or anybody, you know, George Manias from Atlantic City. So anybody, or Ted Leonsis, you know, from Monumental, or if you want coaching staff, or if you want the dance team choreographer, if you want public address announcers, if you want a member of the dance team member, and of course the players themselves. Of course, that'll be without a doubt. But that's what I'm looking at for you, and that's what I propose for you. Just to leave that feedback. It'll be not a specific person form the polls, but a topic. If you want to see that, who you would want to see more of. All right. So next week we will have a guest on, and we'll be back on Friday nights next week. So I'll talk to you later, and I hope to have a good one. Take it easy.